So it's time to harvest the garlic bubils. On the plant, you can see all these little pieces that look like miniature garlic bulbs. Well, in fact, they are. And what you do is you collect them, and just like a regular garlic clove, you plant them in the ground. Over the course of about 2 years, maybe 3, you'll end up getting a full clove of garlic, which you can then divide and plant just like a regular garlic bulb. So this is an easy way, supposedly, to greatly expand your garlic supply. Maybe we should start at the beginning. Garlic scapes are the flower stem of garlic. You'll see them start to form in the spring. There'll be these long curled stems that sprout up, and you'll want to cut them off most of your garlic because they sap the strength from the bulb. You won't get as big of a bulb if you allow them to form a flower head. Typically, you want to cut the scape right where it emerges from the leaf. But if you let them go and you grow the scape to collect the bubils and potentially seeds, you'll find in 2 to 3 weeks' time, they'll start standing up and they'll be completely vertical. It's a good indication that it's also time to harvest the rest of your garlic. When those scapes are fully straight, you'll know it's time. And then you can watch the seed pod develop so that you can then collect the bubils. So I'm just going to use this plastic container and bend over the top. It's probably a little bit further along. You can see they're kind of drying out. There's a lot of pink in there. Well, those pink ones are still fresh bubils. So you just take these and pull them off. It was time to do this because these yellowish ones are dry, and in the rain and wind and stuff like that, they'll come off and they'll drop on the ground. So since I want to get as many as possible, I'm just picking off all the bubils. I'm going to take the pink ones as well. Now these up here are all flowers, and you can actually collect seed from them and actually grow garlic from seed. So I'm going to try to let it go to that as well. But right now, I'm going to be collecting the bubils. I'm going to have garlic growing somewhere. See that? You just tap it and these things pop off. So like I said, it was time to start collecting. Jesus. It was time to start collecting them. There was another one. You have a lot of garlic growing around. And I think as long as you're careful about doing this, you won't damage the flowers. That'll end up forming, and you can collect the seed. So I'm being somewhat gentle here in pulling off the bubils. Let me just show you what I've got so far. These will all turn into garlic bulbs eventually. The first year, you get what's called a round, and it just looks like a small, undeveloped garlic bulb, and that's actually what it is. You can either leave it where you've planted it, and it'll the next year it'll form into a bigger bulb, and some varieties they can take 3 years to grow, depending on the variety of garlic. So I'm not sure how this music variety, how long it's going to take for this music variety to develop into an actual garlic clove. It can happen within 2 years, because as I said, you get a round the first year, and then you plant that, and you can actually get an actual bulb the next year. But it might also take 3 years. I have to remember where these bubils are falling. But they don't, it's not hard to get them off. It's just a matter of kind of like pushing them to the side to dislodge them from the center core. And that's where also the flowers are growing out of. I'm trying to keep it in camera, but as we know, I'm horrible with the camera. Good thing I decided not to do this with just one hand. I'm kind of shocked at how many bubils there are. I didn't really think. There's got to be 100 in there. Now, when you plant the bubils, you don't have to plant them in the garden. You don't have to plant them in the dirt here. You can use like just a little planter box and just sprinkle them over the top of the ground, over the top of the soil, cover them up, of course, lightly. And because the spacing doesn't matter at this stage of development. It's only when they're actual garlic bulbs that you want to have the proper spacing. I think we're getting down to the bottom. There's a few stuck in here that I'm trying to work out. Now apparently you could actually just eat the bubils themselves too. You get like a garlic flavor from them. I can tell you they smell like garlic. I think we're almost there. Not on this side. Still got a few more in here. So I'm gonna collect the rest of these and then I'll be back. Okay, I think I've got them all. So we're just left with the flower here, hopefully. Still really can't see the part of the scape that they're attached to, like what it looks like, just because of all these flowers on here. But I'm gonna watch these flowers, and hopefully I'll be able to collect some seed and not have it sprinkle all over the ground. But let me show you what we got in here. So right off, I'll apologize for the neighbor's lawn care company with the power motor there in the background. It seems every day someone's using one of these machines. And yes, they are annoying. So here are all the bubils. We got about 3 million of them. So that's why they say you can vastly increase the, oh thank goodness. So you can vastly increase your garlic crop by growing bubils. So I'm gonna let these things dry out, and let me just see if, let me just separate them here to show you the difference. So these are, this one is starting to dry out. This one is still pretty fresh. And I don't know if I had allowed it, to go longer, if it would have gotten larger. I don't know if that matters. It's quite possible that a number of these won't sprout, but it certainly looks like you can get more than just a few out of this crop. So just for fun, I thought I'd try to count them. Well, this is 100, probably a few more than 100, and I still got all of these over here. So I think when it comes time to planting, I'm gonna take the biggest ones that I've got. I'm gonna plant those, because there was a bunch of, really small ones in there. I mean, I can plant them too and see what develops. But 200 to 300 garlic bubils isn't so bad. I mean, I gotta get at least 50 out of that, right? One would think anyway. And increasing my garlic crop by 50 bulbs over 2 or 3 years time, of course, compared to the 40 bulbs that I harvested this year. I mean, that's more than doubling my crop. And if you just let one garlic scape go to flower, you can keep doing this every year. Now, I don't know who might need several hundred garlic cloves other than a commercial farmer, who would probably need a lot more. But from what I also understand, because these are collected from the seed head, it's a more pure garlic. It doesn't have any of the soil-borne diseases that might develop in a clove of garlic planted in the ground. Now, of course, I guess that only lasts for one season, because once you plant it to grow it into a round and then plant it into the ground to get the bulb, you run the risk of introducing new soil-borne diseases into it. But again, if you do this every year, just let one flower, just one scaped flower, and then collect the bubils, then every year you're introducing a pure strain of garlic into your crop. And I mean, you don't actually have to plant all 300 or whatever is here. You know, just even if you did just a handful of them and grew that, you'd be doing well. But of course, I hate wasting anything. I don't know how long these bubils will last, and I could try that too. Plant, say, 50 of the biggest here, keep a bunch in reserve, and then next year try and plant them and see if they still grow. I don't know what happens to a bubil in the off season if it's just being stored, but it's looks like an interesting way to go. So later on this year, when it comes time to plant my garlic, I will be showing you planting the bubils, and we'll watch them grow and see what, if any, garlic we eventually get out of this. I think this will be a fun experiment. Not so sure about waiting for the seeds to develop, the true seeds, the true garlic seed. But planting the bubils, I think that can greatly expand your garlic production. And well, it takes a little time to do that. And you could just go to the store perhaps and buy store-bought garlic and plant those cloves. This, you're getting a true offspring of the garlic bulb that you already have. So it might take 2 years, might take 3 years, but that's okay. If you want to see what we're doing in the garden last week, check out this video right here, and then subscribe and hit that notification bell. And that way you'll be able to follow along in the progress on all of our vegetables as we try to grow a supermarket in our own backyard. Let's grow something awesome.